calling all misfits, rebels, leaders, and teachers, welcome to the one place where the only way to fit in is by standing out, where big goals are met with even bigger action, and where we talk through then tackle all things entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Kelsey Knudsen, and this is the Get Shit Done podcast. Welcome to the Revolution. Well, we are pregnant. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud to you. It's still early. It's past that hump, where things are feeling pretty optimistic, but also nothing is, promised in life, and some things may happen. But I feel compelled to share this with you because I'm just really excited. We both are. But also, I've made some shifts in my business, and all of the planning, the KPIs, the audits that I do have really, really become so crucial and important. And so I thought it would be beneficial to tell you that I've made some pretty significant shifts in my business, and now I can finally share the why behind all of that. But all that to say, we're pregnant, we're having a kid, and it's forcing me to completely change my business. So today we're going to talk about that. First things first, the full story I will not be sharing today. So if you're coming for the tea, if you want to hear how that came to be and maybe some bumps along the road, that is not what today's episode is about. That being said, we were planning-ish. I mean, we wanted to grow our family, but like many things in life, you can have control over a lot. Something like this, you don't really have control over that timeline. So leading up to where I'm sitting at today, I knew in the back of my mind that we would be wanting to have kids someday. In fact, if I'm honest, I knew back when I owned my hair salon that I would want to grow a family someday. And for some reason, just thinking of being behind the chair and having clients and like the demanding schedule that industry requires to really do a good job at it, thinking of all that, I didn't really see how a family would fit into that part of my life, which is not the only factor, but a huge reason why I actually shifted into business coaching. Not many people know that that's where my head was at, but that's definitely one of the reasons that I got out of the hair industry. One of many, but definitely one of them. And as we, got engaged and were talking about growing our family after getting married and all of that, I started to really think about things like, what kind of mom do I want to be? What do I want my life to look like? Do I want to continue to grow my business? And in reflecting and thinking of all of those things as we were preparing for it, hoping it would happen and, trying, I realized some things about myself. I realized I really love having a business, and I love the idea of having a small being watch me dedicated to business. But I also think that there are some humble truths that I had to face, and the way I currently do things right now is not in alignment with the way that I want to raise a family. I want to be able to go to all the soccer games. I want to be able to go to all the dance recitals and volunteer in the classroom and do all of those things. And I know if I'm really taking a good hard look at my business, some things have to shift in order to support that life. And also, if I have big goals and dreams in my business, those shifts need to come with some strategy. So today, like I said, I want to talk through some things I did in my business to set me up for success as much as you can. And maybe if you're facing a significant life change, this may be a beneficial episode for you. So without further ado, without diving too much deeper into the backstory, now you know all of that, let's talk tactical. So the second I found out I was pregnant, we found out just after 5-ish weeks. And to say it was a shock would be pretty darn accurate. Again, someday maybe I'll share like the full story, but when we found out, it wasn't like, oh, we knew and I had symptoms and it was like clear. It was like, it's been a while since you've had a period, Kelsey. Maybe you should check. And that is how it happened. Because of history, I went to, okay, if this does work out, when-ish will that happen? And that fell in summer-ish time of 2025. So if you're listening in real time, that's summer next year. And I started to really think about, let's play out worst case, best case. So if this does happen, maybe I should just build my business to support that assumption. And worst case scenario, if that doesn't happen and this doesn't see its way through, at least I've prepared my business for something that could be extremely life altering, and I could always make adjustments as I go. I've always been a big fan of planning your year in pencil. I say this a lot. This is a prime example why. Now, here's the other caveat. I don't know what it's going to be like to be a mom. I have no idea what I'm in for. No clue. However, I do want to set myself up for some space. I want to set myself up for success. I actually, in mapping out the year, planned the highest revenue year to date. Yes, while also taking a maternity leave, which I'll talk more about how I plan that out. But all of that to say, when that test came back positive and a second one came back positive and a third one came back positive, I immediately went to the next year and started to really strategize very intentionally. And I did a couple things. I went through my calendar first and foremost, and I blocked off my due date-ish. We don't have full control over everything, but I know for certain come June, July, August-ish, I probably just won't want to do much work. So I blocked it off. And then I actually blocked off like a transition plan for when I come back. I have blocks of time on my schedule every couple hours that are just blocked off already for 2025. And my thought is, okay, if I'm feeling super inspired, maybe I have awesome family support with the kiddo. This is still so weird for me to say, but anyways, maybe I'm feeling super inspired. And if that's the case, I could always work a little bit more. But this is setting me up for like a compassionate way to come back into work. Some other calendar things that I did too, I went through and I really looked at my current calendar, and I'm still actually doing this and really checking in with myself and my body and making adjustments where needed. One thing I've learned is I'm pretty tired and I have a hard time sleeping. So just my workload in a day has definitely decreased, and my brain is just, I wish I had remote start like for the car, which is my brain, but I don't. It feels like it's just slow to turn on and slow to get going. And so instead of forcing that, I've learned to lean into that and like, okay, what adjustments could I make in the following couple days? Or what can I do to my schedule to help be more supportive so I can still perform in the ways I need to, but be compassionate and take care of myself where I need to too. So all that to say, the first thing I did, mapped out the calendar for when baby is due, mapped out all of 2025, which was already on my radar anyways. And then I looked at my launches. I looked at what can I sell when am I going to have capacity? What other events and strategic times do I have, checkpoints do I have throughout the year? And I'm really stoked because I even planned, this is crazy, I planned a freebie and a course to go out while I'm on maternity leave that will go out for the second round. And the reason being is I have so much pent up demand of people, maybe like you, who want to work together, but tens of thousands of dollars is too much. A couple $1,000s is still out of range and not a fit for what you're looking for, but under $1,000 might be an awesome solution for you. And the wild thing is that stuff was already in the works. And so this positive test was like confirmation that we need to get that stuff out there. So I planned out my whole year. What am I launching when? I even planned a challenge that I want to launch. I think I slotted it in for like the fall that I think will help me kind of get back into flow too. I even planned out podcast episodes for the months of June and July. I'm going to batch them ahead of time. And then that way, if I feel really inspired and want to share stuff in the moment, I can always do that. But then we're set up for success and committing to consistency regardless of what's going on with me personally. And I just feel really good. Again, I have no clue what to expect. I don't know how I'm going to feel. I don't know how I'm going to feel about my business on the other end of it, but I feel so good that I looked at this really proactively. And I just think a lot of us don't do that. We let like the day-to-day just kind of tell us what to do next. And then all of a sudden we blink and it's like you're facing a crisis or you're facing overwhelm or burnout or whatever. And I just think that the strategy and my mindset going into this particular situation, I think we'll find out, I'll share on the other end of it, but I really do feel it's like the most compassionate way I can set myself up for success and clarity and peace. And I feel good about it. So there's a few other things that I've done too, besides the scheduling hacks, besides looking at the launch calendar and really making the most of it and creating moments of promotion and selling and moments of just serving and connecting. And I'm really excited about what we have mapped out for next year, and it feels really good. But on top of that, there's some other things that have really come to light. I've noticed my patience isn't the right word, but more than ever, because of this happening, I've noticed that I have this mindset that if it is not a hell yes, then it is an immediate no. And I've always said that, and there's seasons where I practice that pretty well. But I would say now more than ever, that is becoming abundantly clear. And I hope I remember this feeling, because I think especially as entrepreneurs, we can get distracted and excited and want to collaborate and take advantage of unique opportunities. And I don't know if you're like me, jump on boards and help out in communities because it feels good in the ego and you want to give back. And I really just had to check my capacity because I am not operating at 100%. I am not at my peak. Physically, emotionally, mentally, it's like everything is just a little bit harder. If that makes sense. I've been blessed. I don't feel super sick or anything, but it's just like my mental performance is just, it's just like suppressed a little. And also that's okay. So if that's true, I need to really ask myself, like, what are my commitments and what ones are a hell yes and what ones do I finally need to say no to or set better boundaries with, or really ask myself, why am I involved in this? And even though it may be something I want to do down the road, maybe now is not a great time. So I am saying no to a lot of things right now. Some other things I've done, not only with the calendar and planning the launches, is it really, really brought to light the need for additional revenue streams. So much so, and I'll talk more about this in the future, but Matt and I have had lots of conversations about this as well. And there's only limited information I can share with you today, but I am part of a community and we're even looking at that community and how do we grow it sustainably, serve our people, stay true to our mission, but also grow additional revenue streams through that. So I'm looking at every obligation, every responsibility I have in business, and where can I create additional revenue streams that are still, that feel like they genuinely help people. I will never be, just so you know, I will never be the how you make 20K in a day, buy my course, which is a course of a course of a course that someone else, I will never be that person. But I'm talking about finally putting together a freebie that can help people. I'm talking about finally putting a course together that is DIY, do it at your own pace, that can help people. And I'm really stoked about it. So this is all stuff that was literally in the works over the past year before all of this happened. But now I have kind of a harsh deadline. So I know what needs to happen when and when it needs to be promoted. And I'm just, again, so grateful this was already in motion, because I'd be scrambling if this was the first time I was bringing to awareness the fact that I may want to launch a course next year. Some other things that I've done while finding out that we're pregnant and adapting to it is really revisiting our financial goals, both personally for myself. Matt and I have had lots of conversations around this. We're actually going to make some changes to our current money dates that we do and who manages what, and I'm really excited about it. And we talked about family goals, personal goals, all of that stuff. We always talk about this kind of stuff. That's just a normal conversation for us. But adding a kid into the mix, you know, values and budget and all those things, while also acknowledging we have no idea what we're doing. You know, I think part of it is like you're going to learn as you go. And I definitely am leaning into that mindset. I don't pretend to know anything I don't know. But also it's good that we have some common goals and values when it comes to thinking of the financial part of raising a family. I've also had to create more space for rest, which, if you know me, is very hard for me. But it's like I said, it's just like turn the engine of my brain on just takes longer. Making decisions, like strategic decisions or creative decisions, it's hard for me to get that going in my brain. And so instead of forcing it, there's been a lot of grace, communicating with my team what's going on and why, and communicating with family and communicating with core really close friends, people who are impacted by this situation, because I think it's important for us to communicate our needs because they can't read our minds and everyone is different. And I've learned through this experience, like everyone handles pregnancy different. Everybody's individual pregnancy is different. And so it's naive of you to assume that your friends, your family, your team knows what you need from them. So the best thing that I've been able to do is really just create more time for space and rest. And I'm in a hustle season, so unfortunate is not the right word, but right now it's hard. Right now there is a lot on my plate. It will not be like this for forever because certain things I'm working on have deadlines, and it's creating systems that once implemented will be a lot more sustainable and won't require a lot of me. But right now I'm in a season where I'm building a lot of stuff simultaneously that will set us up for success in the future. And so The rest is few and far between, but boy, has it become more and more apparent that that's super, super important for me, and just being cool with it. On top of that, like I said, I planned out a little maternity leave, and I don't know about you, but I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've talked to, again, coming from the hair world, talking to family members. I know someone who had their kid on a Friday, brought them into work on a Monday. And I know times were different back then, but everyone's experience, everyone's reality, everyone's support level is different. And I acknowledge that. But I think for me, to do what I do best requires a lot of my brain and my energy and just like Kelsey, like I can't leave me at the door for my business, right? So the best thing I can do is take care of myself so then I can help serve people like you. And if I'm growing a human being physically in my body right now, some of that energy is being diverted elsewhere and being okay with that. But then on the other side, once, this baby comes into the world, I think there may be some shifts and adjustments then. So again, I think prepping for that maternity leave, it's not perfect. I have no control over what day all of this will go down. I have no idea. I don't know how. I know like what my preferred situation is, but I'm open to the fact that I don't know. However, by setting my business up for success, kind of with some buffers on both ends of it, I feel really solid that we will be able to handle it. We will be able to handle it. And I'm just so excited to share this with you today because I think not enough people talk about it. And again, I know part of it is a luxury. Part of it is like, how blessed am I that I have built a business where I can do this, but also there has been so much blood, sweat, and tears and work that has led me to this moment. And so if you're listening today and you're still fresh in your journey and you're feeling maybe a little discouraged or like, I have no idea how I would do that, Kelsey, I can't do that. I have compassion for you. I do. But I think the more we can start to treat our businesses like real businesses and plan and strategize and adapt and check in and make adjustments, regardless of me, regardless of this current situation. Even if it wasn't this, I'd be feeling this way about next year. I just think that it's something that we neglect because it doesn't quote unquote feel important. And then all of a sudden we're burnt out, we're resentful, and we're looking for career corporate jobs that we don't actually want. So I think the last thing you can do if you are going through a significant life change while also balancing a business is this. It's clarifying your expectations and communicating with the people who are impacted by them. I'm like good. The few people in my close, intimate circle who know what's going on, and now the whole world is going to know, I'm good. So if you're like, hey, what do you need? How can I help? You can help by checking in periodically. You can help by sharing my podcast and helping to get the message and the word out. That is where my mind is at. I am really, really focused on this business and serving you while I have the energy and capacity and time to do so. And I wouldn't know that that's what I needed if I didn't take the time to like really reflect on it and check in with myself. And some days are different. Some days it's like, I just need a nap. Your girl just needs a nap. The best thing you can do is, I don't know, handle my stuff for the day so I can take a nap. But all that to say, we're stoked. Thank you for being along for this journey. I hope as you're looking into the new year, as you're thinking about your business, I hope you start to think about it with this personal life first lens. And I've never been more excited to take action on a calendar year before. I've never been so clear on what happens when and where and why. And yes, there's a lot of unknowns on the other side of it. But all that to say, I'm feeling really solid about it. And I hope that this inspired you and maybe gave you some tools to, better support your life first and then your business. So we're so excited. I'm actually doing something crazy for the month of December. So if you're listening in real time, do me a solid and hop over to Instagram. Make sure we're connected over there. Maybe even send me a DM and say hi. My Instagram handle is Kelsey Marie Knudsen. And I'm actually doing some bonus content. We're going to be doing a contest and just some cool stuff in the month of December to celebrate this big news, to celebrate the end of the year, to celebrate the holidays. And we'll be promoting and talking about it most on that platform. So make sure we're connected over there. And thank you for celebrating in this little moment with us. And please hold me accountable. Check in with me, see how things are going. I'm happy to do the same for you if you're going through a similar life chapter or just, a life thing in general. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. And I'm excited to continue this journey with you. Catch you next time. Hey, thanks for being a part of the Get Shit Done revolution. My hope is this episode sparked a fire in you, equipped you with some practical next steps, or inspired you to take action towards your goals. If it did, please help spread the word by sharing this episode or leaving a review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're tuning in. Now it's time for me to hand over the keys and let you get shit done.